I also want to talk about real quickly the life of Jesus and that it's premiering on Fox Nation. And I watched the trailer on your Instagram, and man, it was so powerful. Like the idea that you're there, boots on the ground, following his footsteps, learning about his life. Did you walk the Stations of the Cross? Can please tell us a little bit about what that looks like, because it looks
Yeah,
powerful.
it was humbling. It was amazing. It's one thing to talk about it. We've all read it, but to be there, to to see it and to be there and to be at the very place. And we learn more every decade about archaeologically about what correlates with what and where it is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we did walk the Stations of the Cross. We went to where the Last Supper occurred. We went to, Golgotha. It's a big church, Church of the Holy Sepulchre, but there's also another location that just blows your mind when you're there, that may have actually been the actual tomb and the stone that was rolled away. I mean, I get chills just, you go to the wilderness where Jesus was tempted and you realize how vast, how hot it was in the day and how cold it was at night and how empty it was and how 40 days and 40 nights for a mere mortal is impossible. The Jordan River where he was baptized. I mean, his hometown where they threw him out of the synagogue and almost threw him off of a cliff. You've read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We've all heard the stories. But when you weave them together and you start to tell almost a chronological story, it gives you a sense of the gathering storm that was the clash between God on earth performing miracles, clearly proclaiming the gospel and proclaiming to be the Messiah, and religious authorities and others who said, no, this is a heretic. I mean, he's either the Messiah or he's a false prophet. And people were choosing sides, and you could feel the mounting tension. So this first part of the series, which got released on Fox Nation for Christmas, is from birth to basically up to Holy Week. And then in Easter, we're going to release the whole Holy Week, Stations of the Cross,
Man.
everything that you see in Jerusalem. But it's humbling. I mean, listen, I know I can't tell. I mean, how can you tell the story of Jesus Christ? You can't. But I
Yeah.
took a pastor with me, and we went to the places where it happened. Not to say did it happen, but we know it happened. We think it happened here, and here's the scriptures that tell us why it's important.
Pete, it just looks incredible, man. And how is that brought into perspective? Because I know it does. When you think about your faith, you tie it to what's actually happening in the world now. You look at what happened to Jesus and sort of the life and death clashes that happened around his spirituality and the kind of person that he was and
Mm-hmm.
leader he became. Having been in the arena myself, like in a complete noob, in terms of like just even running for office, you do see that there are, spiritual forces at work, not just in this country, but all over the world. And I think the life of Jesus really brings that into perspective and reminds people just how important it is to be on the right side of those things. And has that journey for you in filming this special or documentary or whatever you're calling it, has that changed the way that you see the fight, or have you always seen it that way?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think you can fight for intellectual reasons because you know something to be true, and that's probably the easier mode to fight in, and that's probably the instinct that I have at the very least. Going
Hmm.
to Israel and seeing this and growing in my faith over the last 5, 6 years, going to Israel, I've been 8 or 9 times, and this was a 10-day trip to do it.
Hmm.
It it's, as my pastor says, it's taken it from the 12 inches from the head to the heart is where most people miss Jesus, because it's right up here, but
Wow.
it's not in here. And
Hmm.
feeling it and seeing it, touching it, it kind of leaves an imprint that when you're doing your devotions every day, you say, okay, I think I understand a little bit more what Jesus meant. Not some special insight. I don't have any special insight. It's just a connection to the feeling of what he may have experienced and what he was trying to impart on people. And I just, that's what we're trying to do with the film, is share that good news of Jesus that we all need, because human nature never changes. I mean, as much as we may want to think we've progressed, or no, we are the same fallen, sinful souls that Jesus encountered 2,000 years ago. And if he walked onto my yard right now and proclaimed to be the Messiah, I might deny him the same way people around him who saw miracles denied him. Because there is a spiritual battle on this earth, as you said, every single day. Lies are the most potent weapons of the devil, and we fall for them every day in ways big and small. And so the more I'm out in the public square, the more I want to make sure I'm right with him in reconcile. And I think it's something as young people we just sort of dismiss or we play with at the superficial level. It's part of getting older again, is I want to know my creator. I want to have a personal relationship with Jesus that changes my heart so that I have the humility and the courage to see what is right, or the wisdom to see what is right and the courage to do it, and the humility to know I don't have every answer, but also that assurance of heart that we talked about earlier on in the program, that, you know, if my life were to end today, I know that I know who I served or who I wanted to be serving and what my purpose was here on earth. That I think if you make your life the center of your worship, then then politics becomes a god, and the climate becomes a god, and COVID becomes a god, and safety becomes a god. And that's why you can get really unhappy really fast. And I've had plenty of scars and failures and missteps in my life. And if those defined me, then I would be laying in the yard in a fetal position. But instead, I'm, redeemed by a Savior who went through a lot more than that and gives me a second chance. And so I hope people will watch it for Christmas, share it with their family. And really, the people I want to watch it the most, Sean, are my kids, and they're probably going to watch it and be like, oh, Dad, another program. Yeah, I know the story of Jesus, Dad. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm going to be utterly disappointed by their reaction to it, but I'm hoping in 10 years and they pick it back up, or I send it to them and they say, oh, Dad, okay, now I get it, and it deepens their faith. If we're going to need a deepening of all of our faiths to deal with what's coming.
No question, man. The Life of Jesus, watch it on Fox Nation. If you're not a member of Fox Nation, join up, watch it, especially around this time of year. It will be worth it.